Every time you type a prompt into an AI chatbot, a massive, highly physical industrial engine begins to churn. The experience feels weightless and instantaneous, but the hardware required to produce that response is anything but. This diagram compares the physical resources of a standard web search against a generative AI prompt. A normal search uses a fraction of a watt-hour, but an AI chatbot consumes 10 times more electricity per query, evaporating 15 milliliters of fresh water to prevent overheating. At an individual scale, 15 milliliters is roughly a single tablespoon of water, but scaled across the 200 million people interacting with these systems daily, that microcost transforms into a massive global drain on energy and water supplies. This resource intensity is driven by a shift in hardware architecture. Traditional data centers relied on CPUs to handle tasks one by one, but AI demands hyper-dense arrays of GPUs, like these NVIDIA chips, designed for massive parallel calculations that generate immense heat. This transition to dense GPU clusters transforms AI into a heavy industrial process, defined by the continuous movement of power and water through physical space. The electrical toll begins long before a user sends a prompt. Training a foundational model like GPT-4 requires a massive front-loaded investment of energy, consuming an estimated 1,750 megawatt-hours of power during the development phase alone. Once deployed, that operational demand continues to rise. This surge in power usage has caused several of the world's largest tech companies to miss their historical carbon reduction targets, with emissions trending upward for the first time in years. This chart projects the growth of energy demand for AI data centers. By 2030, the infrastructure needed to sustain these models is expected to consume 4% of the entire global electricity supply. AI's current growth trajectory puts it on a direct collision course with global climate goals. Sustaining this curve will require a complete overhaul of how we generate and distribute power. Inside the data center, all that electricity generates intense heat. Without constant cooling, these high-performance chips face immediate thermal failure. To prevent a shutdown, data centers use industrial-scale evaporative cooling systems. These units, shown here on a facility rooftop, evaporate roughly 500 milliliters of clean water for every 10 to 50 responses an AI model provides. But the water footprint isn't limited to the data center site. Every chip arrives with a Scope 3 footprint, meaning it consumed vast amounts of water during manufacturing before it was ever plugged into a server. Creating these chips requires millions of gallons of ultra-pure water to etch and clean raw silicone wafers. From the clean room to the data center, AI consumes regional aquifers at both ends of its life cycle. By combining the water used to manufacture the hardware with the water evaporated to keep it running, the hidden hydrological cost of AI becomes a significant drain on local resources. The rapid pace of AI research forces data centers into a constant cycle of upgrades. To remain competitive, companies must replace their hardware every 3 to 5 years. This cycle creates a massive stream of physical waste. Projections suggest that by 2030, AI-specific hardware will generate over 224,000 tons of electronic scrap every year. This waste is hazardous. Discarded servers, like those shown in this accumulation of electronics, contain heavy metals that can leach into the soil and contaminate groundwater if they aren't properly managed and recycled. The most enduring physical legacy of the AI boom may not be the software, but a growing, toxic mountain of discarded silicon and steel. To secure the massive amounts of carbon-free energy they need, tech giants are increasingly bypassing the local power grid to find dedicated sources of electricity. This demand has led to a major shift in energy policy. Microsoft is funding the reopening of the 3 Mile Island nuclear facility, securing the entire output of the plant to power its AI operations. Other major players, including Google and Amazon, are investing in localized small modular reactors. These compact nuclear plants are designed to provide a steady, reliable baseload of energy directly to the data centers. The race for digital intelligence is now the primary driver for a new wave of nuclear power development across the globe. In response to this rapid expansion, governments are moving away from voluntary guidelines and toward legally binding infrastructure laws. Under new EU directives, data centers must report strict power and water usage effectiveness metrics. Germany has taken this further, requiring new facilities to capture waste heat and route it into local systems to warm nearby homes. Under these new rules, a data center's performance is no longer measured solely by its speed or uptime, but by its ability to operate within strict environmental limits. It is easy to forget the physical reality of AI when you are looking at a simple, clean chat interface. But beneath the chat window sits a sprawling network of concrete, silicon, and steel, consuming vast amounts of the Earth's resources to sustain its logic. Ensuring the future of this technology isn't just a software problem. It requires building a sustainable, circular physical infrastructure before we exhaust the resources needed to keep it running.